coaching staff at Rutgers has done such a good job of absolutely maximizing the potential of every player on the roster. They've all bought in, and they just play incredibly hard. Corey Sanders is a gifted athlete, and when they got him to buy in and play defense, that really is what puts this team over the top, is when he can lock down the other team's star guards. The guy like Eugene Omarui, I think he's drawn 18 or 19 charges this year. He's such a smart player, always has himself in the right position. And then they have a guy, Issa Cham, who's a 6'10 wing, very skinny, but he's got great length. And, it's just all about getting all these different types of players to buy into their system. And when they play defense as a team, the sky's the limit for them.
One player you've definitely mentioned is Corey Sanders, because he's definitely kind of the face of this program at this point in time. But one thing is that he was held scoreless during that game against Penn State that you recently attended. What happened? Do you expect a bounce-back performance from him here in Champaign?
Yeah, I think he'll sit down with the coaches and they'll have a discussion about that game. He was benched for, I think, a 9-minute span in the second half, where they kept in his backup, Suf Mensah, and there's really a big drop-off there, but they had to keep Corey off the floor. He was 0 for 7 from the field. He was just taking bad shots. He just fell into hero ball mode very early. Last year, this team beat Penn State on the road, and he was a big reason why. He had over 20 points, I think, and really took over the game, and you kind of get the sense that he was trying to do that, and he was trying a little too hard. Wasn't really moving the ball, and he was just settling for these terrible mid-range jump shots. They weren't good looks. There were other guys in the team that were open, and it just looked like he was being a little too selfish, and that's why he went to the bench for such an extended period of time. I think, after these last 3 games, the team has been just absolutely terrible on offense. They're going to have to sit down, take a long look at things, and I think they'll come out against Illinois and they'll be more organized and they'll be more clean. They won't turn the ball over as much as they did against Penn State. So I'll definitely expect him to play better than he did. And I think that the coaches will find a way to not keep the ball out of his hands, but make sure the ball is moving more and that he's not always the guy taking that shot.
Yeah, one other guard we haven't really talked about much yet is freshman Geo Baker. Do you see him as the future of this team, and what have you seen from him development-wise this season?
Without a doubt, he's the future of the team. The expectation is that Corey Sanders moves on to play professionally wherever it might be after this season, most likely in Europe. And then Geo Baker, takes over the reins as the starting point guard. He's been a little inconsistent this year, but when he's at his best, he's really special to watch. He's 6'4", he's long, he can shoot the ball pretty well. The only issue is that he just gets in these stretches where if he can't make a 3, sometimes he's hesitant to shoot, or he just goes cold shooting. But offensively, he's really got a wide skill set. There's nothing he can't do. He's shown a tremendous ability to create separation and get off a mid-range jump shot. And with his length, it's hard for defenders to block. And, when he catches fire from 3-point range, he can just consistently hit it. He's also shown the ability to drive to the lane, finish at the rim in tough positions. And he's been a pretty good foul shooter. He was a really under-recruited kid. He didn't play in sponsored AAU leagues, and he's from New Hampshire, where there's not really a big high school basketball scene. So, the coaching staff did a really good job of getting out there and discovering him when not many other programs did. And they brought him in, and, from the second he stepped on campus, they knew they had something special. So he's definitely, a guy to look out for, and I think, in a couple of years from now, he's a first-team All-Big Ten caliber player, and he's definitely, the future of the program.
I don't know how much you know about Illinois in terms of its style of play, but one thing that Illinois does particularly well, is they pressure teams on defense, really get after it, and they force a lot of turnovers. Do you think that's a concern for Rutgers against Illinois, taking care of the ball?
Just based on the way that they played against Penn State, I would say yes. Rutgers, their one strength on offense is that they have been very good about not turning the ball over. Their turnover percentage is, I think, 31 in the nation. So they're very clean taking care of the ball. But again, I mean, they averaged, I think, 11 turnovers per game. But against Penn State, they had 16. They were very sloppy. They looked like they were rushing things, and they were just giving Penn State so many free buckets, basically just throwing the ball all over the place, and they would just lead to easy points for Penn State. But I think if they take a step back, and I mean, Corey Sanders is a junior. He's played a lot of basketball for Rutgers. The offense, they like to run through him. But what they also like to do is if he's not having a great game, Gio Baker is also capable of bringing the ball up. So I think that if they, keep it balanced, they've had some experience. They've dealt with high pressure. When they played Iowa was pressing almost the entire second half. So they've seen it before, and it's something that they've done relatively well. But at the same time, if Illinois were to just give them fits and lead to a bunch of turnovers, that would not surprise me at all, because they've shown that while they're a clean team, they are vulnerable to turning the ball over.
All right. One last question I have for you here, Griffin, is do you expect a close game Tuesday, and do you have a prediction for how it's going to turn out?
I definitely think it's going to be a close game. Rutgers has struggled in their last 5 games. So before their game against Ohio State, there's one of their guards, Mike Williams, went down with a bad ankle injury in practice. And, he's probably going to be out for the rest of the season. He was their 6th man. He was the first guy off the bench that just gave them tremendous energy, would always give them a spark. He wouldn't put up the craziest numbers on the stat sheet, but he was a guy who always, fought for those rebounds. And the team, it just kind of feels like the team's been lost without him on the floor. So, in these Big Ten road games where they need a spark, they need something to get them going when they don't have the fans on their side, he's a guy that could come in and help them out. So I think that they'll be able to play with Illinois, but just based on the way that I've seen them play the last 3 games, there's nothing that makes me think that they can win a road game in the Big Ten. So I think it'll be a close game, but right now I'm thinking that Illinois is going to win.
All right. Well, thank you for taking the time to talk with me. I really appreciate it. It was great getting the chance to hear your perspective of Rutgers basketball.
Thanks for having me again.
No problem. We're about to go to a short commercial break here on Illini Drive. Once again, that was Griffin Whitmer, men's basketball beat reporter for the Daily Targum.
You're watching Illini Drive on Urbana Public Television. Tune in Monday nights at 6 p.m. to listen live on WPGU 107.1.
And we're back here on Illini Drive.
Frazier rolls left. Down the lane, Trent. In the corner, Lucas. Out top, Kipper for 3. And he got it!
One more.
They wish and I wish and I wish and I wish and they wishing on me. Yeah. I've been moving calm, don't start no trouble with me. Trying to keep it peaceful is a struggle for me. Don't pull up at 6 a.m. to cuddle with me. You know how I like it when you love it on me.
And back to Illini Drive here on WPGU 107.1.
You guys love the sound of my voice there.
Of
right?
course.
Very beginning.
I loved it in studio. That was even better.
Nice way to start our UPTV broadcast. If you're watching this on a Wednesday night, hello. Ori, Will, and Jake here. No Tommy. He is sick today.
Tommy would have loved that bump, by the way, Will.
I know he would.
I know he's going to really be upset about missing that.
Yeah. Hopefully he's listening to it. So
I could already hear him just going, oh. I just hear him like
That's exactly
in my voice.
spot on. Sounds like pretty much same way. We're going to talk a little bit more basketball here. We just heard from Griffin Whitmer a little bit. He talked with Will over the weekend. One thing that was interesting to hear is that Rutgers offense do not commit many turnovers, and this Illinois team is known to make people turn the ball over, which is your classic which team is going to mess up. Will Rutgers offense slip or will Illinois' defense slip? Will?
Well, likewise, one thing Underwood brought up during his press conference today, too, is that he said that he thinks Rutgers does an exceptional job at keeping teams from running their offense, to the point where he said something kind of along the lines of, like, this team might be one of the best in the country at making teams shoot the ball with, like, 5 seconds left in the shot clock. And as we know, Illinois likes to get out and run in transition, so really it will come down to which team can kind of establish their own, style of play here.
Yeah, I mean, Illinois has been good at times with creating turnovers and kind of frazzling other teams. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see if they try and attack that or if they just acknowledge that Rutgers isn't a team that turns it over much and just lets it go.
Yeah, I think the Illini will be able to stick with their own game plan and be able to inflict their style.
I mean, they've really been able to turn over everyone, even Michigan State.
Yes.
When Michigan State came to town.
I was about to say that. Like, every single game Illinois has played this season, they've inflicted this defensive, forcing turnovers style that they've created in the country. They did against Michigan State. They've done against pretty much almost every Big Ten opponent they've faced, except for maybe Wisconsin, but they still turned the ball over a decent amount. So I think Illinois will be able to inflict turnovers on Rutgers, even though they don't give up a lot. But the one question that I wanted to hear from you guys before we pick the game and go to a break, who's got to step up the most? I mean, besides Smith and Allstork, I mean, Finke, between the three of them, who needs to really step up the most their entire game? Because Allstork has just been a disappointment in conference play so far.
I think it's Mark Allstork because he's the guy who really hasn't been scoring the ball at all this year, and he came in with the reputation of being a prolific scorer, and he's someone that has the ability to shoot it from 3-point range. He just doesn't really seem confident on the offensive side at all this year.
I agree with that.
I would say Allstork if I was expecting anything anymore.
You've just completely given up hope.
I haven't given up, but it's just that I don't expect anything. I'm not expecting him to burst onto the scene almost, we're more than halfway done with the season at this point.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, we're coming down to the home stretch almost.
We're less than a month away from senior day.
Right. So I'm really not expecting him to just suddenly burst onto the scene, score 25, 30 points in a game one of these days. All I expect from him now is to maybe get to the free throw line a couple times, play good defense, and that's it. So that's all I'm expecting from him anymore. I think Finke is still, because I'm still waiting for him to have that big offensive game.
We definitely saw flashes of it against Indiana in the first half.
And that's what I was going to say. He is starting to take more shots, and it seems like he's starting to become more comfortable with his shot for sure. Maybe it's the buzz cut. I don't know. But, I mean, you can see him starting to feel himself when he's shooting now. He's just got to he's got to take it throughout the whole game now.
I mean, every single game. I've probably said this a million times because Brad Underwood has also said it a million times. Every time we come to a press conference, he's always saying Michael needs to shoot the ball more. He still hasn't been able to find his open shots and feel comfortable with them. And once he does, he'll be putting up 15 a night against these Big Ten opposition, I think, because he can hit 3 threes a game and get to the free throw line a couple times.
I think he's just looking for too much space at this point. I think he's just, because he does have a quick release. He can get a shot off pretty quick relative to other guys on the team. But
someone his size.
Right,
Yeah.
and he's just not really taking those shots when he has the opportunity.
So who wins the game tomorrow?
I think Illinois wins pretty handily, actually.
Handily. I don't think handily. It's Rutgers, man. This is the kryptonite of Illinois sports, including this year when Rutgers football beat us this year.
I feel like Illinois has had plenty of time to prepare for this game. There's really no excuse for them not to show up at home.
I think they'll win too.
I mean, in that conversation I had with Griffin, he seemed to think the same thing as well. He wasn't
that
too
Illinois is
going
to win?
Yeah, he wasn't too confident about Rutgers either.
I just don't think it's going to be a blowout. I don't expect Illinois to.
It's not going to be a blowout.
No.
You can't expect this team to just completely blow teams out of the water
Any
anymore.
Big Ten team.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, they can blow out Southern and Marshall and, Augustana, but not a single team in the Big Ten. They're going to be winning a game by more than 10 points, I think.
I mean, I think... See, because I'm just not comfortable making any predictions with this team anymore because it's just you don't know what you're going to get, like we said at the beginning of the show. Like, which team is going to show up? I do think they win because I do still think Rutgers is a step below Illinois.
I also don't think Rutgers possesses the size to really bully Illinois around.
But we've said that before.
We've said that before, Illinois,
and, and they haven't been able to capitalize on that. I mean, we even against Indiana, we said it, and what's his name on Indiana just was taking rebounds from Laurent Black and Michael Finke. I mean, and he was a forward, I think, or a guard. I forgot his name.
Corey Sanders will have a big game. The best player on every Big Ten team that plays Illinois always has a big game, but I still think Illinois will win, but it's going to be close. It's not going to be a blowout.
I think it's like the Indiana game where it looks like they have it, and then maybe they start to lose it at the end. But I still think it's a win. I think they do start to roll a little bit here. And
Rutgers is a team that's really struggling right now.
Yeah.
Illinois is not exactly setting the world on fire.
They just got their first Big Ten win.
Right.
Yeah, their first win of 2018 and their first win since beating Grand Canyon, which was their second consecutive win after winning bragging rights. So we'll see what happens on Tuesday. Make sure
Juwan Morgan, that's what I was thinking.
Juwan Morgan, there you go.
That's who it is.
So Illinois and Rutgers will be happening at 6 p.m. tomorrow on BTN, I believe, is the game will be on. So come to State Farm Center, watch the game. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll hear from Matthew. Little Illini weekend recap, as always, on Monday. We'll talk a little bit about some of the stuff that happened there. And then final thoughts. We'll talk about the Blake Griffin trade, because if you haven't heard, Blake Griffin just got traded to the Detroit Pistons.
Lot to talk about.
Holy cow, a lot to talk about when we come back right here on WPGU 107.1.
You're watching Illini Drive on Urbana Public Television. Tune in Monday nights at 6 p.m. to listen live on WPGU 107.1.
Good evening. I am Matthew Goldstein. Time for another edition of the Illini Weekend Recap. Women's basketball suffered another loss, this one at the expense of the Wisconsin Badgers by the score of 70-61. Despite the loss, Alex Whittinger continued her stellar play, leading the Illini with 18 points and hauling in 6 rebounds and 4 block shots. The third-ranked men's gymnastics team had a big-time win at number 2 ranked Penn State, posting the second overall top score in the nation en route to a 7-point victory. Junior Alex Diab stepped up for the orange and blue, winning event titles on the floor exercise and the still rings. The team itself fired on all cylinders, hitting an 80% hit ratio and had season-high team scores on the parallel bars and the still rings. History was made at the Illini Classic when sophomore John Davis became the 498th American to run a mile in under 4 minutes. His official time was 3 minutes and 58 seconds. That time ranks first in the NCAA and sets a new Illinois program record and breaks the Armory facility record that stood by 44 years. In addition, the Illini tallied 6 other titles and 7 personal record performances at the Illini Classic as the team finished with 139 points overall, second only to Louisville. The women's track team finished second at the Armory. The women's gymnastics team catapulted a season-best team score to defeat Penn State in University Park. After trailing by a tenth of a point on the final rotation, the Illini posted a season best on beam to reclaim the lead and the contest. Illini men's tennis began the 2018 dual match season with a sweep of Georgia Tech and a victory over the 16th-ranked Oklahoma Sooners. The women went 1-1 in Chapel Hill, defeating William and Mary and losing to 5th-ranked North Carolina. Finally, wrestling had a 25-18 win over Maryland yesterday. The win is the 4th for Illinois in the last 5 matches and their 10th consecutive victory at Huff Hall. That was your Illini Weekend Recap. I am Matthew Goldstein, Daily Illini Sports.
Thank you, Matthew. As we return here to Illini Drive on WPGU 107.1, brought to you by the Illinois Fighting Illini. For tickets and info on the Illini, make sure to go to fightingillini.com or call 1-866-Illini-1. Again, that is fightingillini.com or call 1-866-Illini-1 for more ticket information. We just heard our weekend recap, and now a little quick score update. In the NBA, the Bulls lost to the Bucks 110-96 last night. The Chicago Blackhawks were on their All-Star weekend. The Pacific Division won the NHL All-Star weekend. And then the all-important Pro Bowl did haul in some decent ratings, and the AFC did beat the NFC by 1 last night.
So did they complete the comeback then?
That's it. I don't know.
I was watching the game. I saw the score at one point. I'm pretty sure the AFC was trailing late. That's about as much attention as I paid.
Yeah, according to the numbers, this would have been the 7th highest rated college football regular season game.
Wait, really?
Yes.
No way.
The Pro Bowl gets that many viewers.
Who out there was watching the Pro Bowl?
The Pro Bowl is just a thing you turn on in the afternoon on Sunday, and it's just something on. So, and it counts for the ratings. So, and then also over the weekend, the Australian Open concluded. Caroline Wozniacki of Denmark won her first career Grand Slam, and Roger Federer won his 20th career Grand Slam, winning the Australian Open in a 5-set final against Marin Cilic. Unbelievable, Roger Federer. He's just goat of tennis.
So Jake, like on a Sunday afternoon, would you rather watch the Pro Bowl or bowling?
He was watching Tiger.
I was watching Tiger this weekend.
I haven't heard much about that. Is there a reason you'd like to share with us?
That
you're not talking much about Tiger's performance. I know you were super pumped about it.
I mean, it was good. It wasn't great. He had a decent, like, the last 2 days were good. Second day was okay. I mean, I'm just glad he came out of it fine, uninjured. Like, I mean, if you want me to talk about it, I'll talk about it because I could talk about it forever. Like, I mean, I'm excited. I was just looking at the schedule. Waste Management Phoenix Open is coming up. I don't know if he's
Waste Management Phoenix.
It's usually
Open.
a good tournament, actually. Like, it's usually pretty competitive. And then AT&T, the Pebble Beach, is in 2 weeks.
Is there sludge in the rough there?
Yes. Yes, that's actually how Tiger got his
Great
powers.
joke, Dad, Ori.
That's how Tiger got his powers 10 years ago.
Again, I don't have only dad jokes. I have young people jokes too.
Even the way you said that
sounds like something an old man would say.
That was the point. Let's talk about the thing that's ruling the sports news now. Just around 40 minutes ago, Blake Griffin of the LA Clippers just got traded to the Detroit Pistons.
So no longer of the LA Clippers.
Congrats,
no longer.
Blake.
Like, holy cow, this just Adrian Wojnarowski just Washbomb, Shams bomb too. I mean, Griffin's on the Pistons with Andre Drummond. In return, the Clippers got Tobias Harris. They got Avery Bradley, who the Pistons were actively shopping. The news came out like yesterday that they wanted to trade him. They got Boban, of course, Boban Marjanovic, and they also got the first and second round picks of the Pistons.
Is Boban the tallest player in the NBA?
One of. I don't know about the tallest.
Beast.
He's got to be close.
He's close, but he's definitely not the most quality center in the NBA. He's decent.
Jeez.
He's not as good as Andre Drummond, though, who's Blake Griffin's new teammate.
True.
But, man.
Real impressive front court.
Who won this trade?
I want to say the Pistons, but, like, I mean, I'm just saying that because, like, based on star power alone, I think.
Yeah, I mean, the Pistons win on personnel, but I don't think they win in terms of, like, contracts and rebuilding or anything like that, because you've got Blake Griffin, who just signed an extension. The Pistons take on that humongous contract. They've also got Andre Drummond.
I mean, Avery Bradley is a really good guard.
Yeah, and the Clippers now are a team of the Rockets and Pistons scraps plus DeAndre Jordan. Are the Clippers gonna get any worse this year, Jake, with all these guys?
Because Austin Rivers is going to be the main piece of this team, and
with Jordan and Lou Williams probably getting traded, right? I mean, who do they go to?
No, they're gone. So I mean, I'm going to assume Jordan goes to Cleveland.
I hope so.
Now, because I mean, it seems like the most realistic fit, unless Portland somehow pulls off something for him. Lou Williams could go anywhere. I mean, there's always a market for a guy who can score.
Cavs should pick him up too.
So as a Cavs fan, are you excited about the chance of seeing Jordan in Cleveland? Do you think that's the piece the Cavaliers need to compete for a title?
No, the piece we need.
Where's Tommy when you need him?
The piece we need is a shooting guard who can defend. Avery Bradley would have been good. I just don't think Avery Bradley offers enough scoring. We do need someone who can put the ball in the hoop. George Hill, I think, is that guy. The Cavs should trade for George Hill. They've wanted him throughout.
So in that scenario, do you give up Isaiah for DeAndre Jordan?
I don't know why people are saying that Isaiah should just give him up like he's nothing.
So you're telling me you're going to have Derrick Rose, Isaiah Thomas, and George Hill all rotating through the point guard spot with LeBron handling the ball?
Derrick Rose isn't playing, and he's not going to play in the playoffs. We need George Hill is a combo guard. You can put George Hill at shooting guard, or you put George Hill at point guard. So Isaiah is not bringing the ball up every other play or whatever. I mean, Isaiah is just a defensive liability. He shouldn't be guarding anyone. Honestly, he should just cherry pick the whole game.
I mean, really, the Cavaliers should have never traded for him. That was a really bad trade.
Yeah, that's in the end, that's what it was. Do you believe that Kyrie would have sat out the whole season if they didn't trade him?
I don't know.
And then he said, "Oh, the bond with LeBron is unbreakable.
The NBA
and we're still friends."
The NBA,
which obviously he's gonna say, yeah, he's not gonna be like, "Yeah, I hate that guy," but
the NBA is turning into the Jersey Shore of the sports leagues. There's
just Cleveland.
There's everywhere.
Mostly Cleveland.
The tunnel fight, whatever the hell that was.
Hilarious.
I don't even know if that was real.
That was hilarious, and it was questionable if it's real. The Cavaliers, it's real, and it's just really dumb.
It's a reality show. There's just trades all over the place. Drama.
Is that Kevin Love just gets blamed for everything.
I know.
Ever since he got there, and he signed an extension, which is so wild. He's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna sign. I like what's going on here. I'm gonna sign up for this for 5 more years. I'm gonna sign up to have my self-esteem just demolished for 5 years."
Derrick Rose could not sub in the game because he was using the restroom. But
That was
Cavaliers
hilarious.
were mad at Kevin Love for missing when he was sick.
Dude,
and
Derrick
he
Rose
gave
is-
the team a doctor's note.
Derrick Rose is just a weird guy now, though. Remember when he went MIA for like a
Did
month
you
on
hear
the
his
Cavs?
explanation for why he was like, using the rest? He's like, I feel like I have to do that after every single time I'm on the floor. Make sure that I'm as prepared as I can possibly for each.
He's just a weird dude now.
He's
I'm
really
telling
got
you.
his body right. No more injuries.
But it is funny that he went MIA for like a month and a half. Nobody said anything. Like Derrick Rose left with like short hair and like clean cut, came back with dreads. Nobody said a thing, and then Kevin Love's puking his guts up, and they're like, "Nah, I think you're faking it, man." Like what?
Then why are you quitting on this team?
Yeah, we're not even gonna get past the Eastern Conference semis. Even if we got Jordan, even if we got George Hill, I don't even know if we get past like Milwaukee.
I don't
or
know if they
Toronto.
get past Milwaukee.
No,
to
it's
be honest.
Toronto. We'd probably play Toronto in the semifinals.
No, I'm talking about in the first round.
Nah, first round Cavs are gonna play like Indiana or even Detroit, and they'll probably beat them.
I think they'd lose to Philly.
But what we talked about the Clippers sort of side of it, they're gonna kind of rebuilding. What do the Pistons need to become a contender? Because they have the front court. Blake Griffin and Andre Drummond just became the best front court in the Eastern Conference.
I mean, we kind of talked about it. Stanley Johnson needs to actually live up to being the 8th pick overall. What, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, something like that. And Reggie Jackson needs to stay healthy.
But do you think they need another, like a real, if they got like a decent guard, like with the Pelicans, they got Rajon Rondo, who's not the best right now, but he's passing the ball like
Right, he's doing what they need him to do. I don't know because, and I mean, I'm gonna be honest, I don't know the Pistons lineup like the back of my hand or that well, so I don't
Still
know.
have Luke Kennard, he can shoot it.
Yeah, I mean that's what we said with Tobias Harris gone. I guess Luke Kennard becomes like the shooter off the bench. I guess. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just the Pistons seem just kind of like a mishmash of a bunch of different players. It's kind of weird. I mean, I think Drummond and Blake complement each other well because Blake can kind of shoot a little bit, not from the outside as
Drummond
much, but
just owns the post.
right. And I mean, Blake Griffin's kind of like Laurent Black, like from inside 15, he's money.
He definitely can stretch the floor.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. Clippers are more of a mishmash than anything. I mean, the Clippers' best player
That's
now
any
is
tanking team, though.
But the Clippers, they've got so many good role players from all these different teams. I mean, Tobias Harris could have been an
might
all-star
flip him.
this year.
They might flip him.
They might flip him. I don't know. Or they keep him. I mean, we don't know. But, I mean, Sam Decker was decent. Lou Williams, 6th Man of the Year contender. I mean, now you've got Boban. You've got Avery Bradley, who's a good defensive guard. The Clippers just have so many players who have been decent on contenders. Or Tobias Harris, who's always been just a good, solid power forward in the NBA. So we'll see what happens with the Pistons. I think if LeBron leaves the Cavs, then the Pistons are probably the second best team in the Central behind Milwaukee.
I was going to say in the Central. Okay,
But
that makes more sense.
I
I thought you
like-
were about to say the conference.
No,
I was about to
but
lose my mind.
I like seeing Blake Griffin go to the East because the East really needs some all-star caliber players in there.
But I mean, the Pistons are 22 and 26. They're 9th seed.
They're
I mean,
gonna
how
make-
much? Sure,
they'll make
they're
the
going to make the
playoffs.
playoffs now. But how much does this really help them? I mean, there's already 48 games done.
In the East, it's really going to help them because you have Miami is not going to be this good for this long. They're going to fall off at some point. Milwaukee's been super inconsistent.
So do you think Detroit could give Toronto or Boston a competitive series? Because
Not-
I think Boston would kill them.
Not this year. Not this year. They need a year or two to find guards that can play well with Blake and with Drummond, and they need to figure out the contract situation with Andre Drummond. I mean, both guys are going to have humongous deals. That
I
they're
mean,
gonna
Blake's
have to
already
pay.
locked in for the next
I
4
still
years.
think the
so-
Knicks could potentially be competitive in a couple of years. I mean, they have Porzingis, which is like the ultimate centerpiece.
They need some
Knicks
help
not
too.
bad.
They're not bad. I thought they would be a lot worse this year.
I mean, they're probably going to have to make a few splashes in free agency.
Yeah, I mean, right?
Nobody wants to go to New York anymore, though.
Honestly, for both
Still
teams.
storied, like, franchise.
Hey, it's fine. Doug McDermott's going to take that team to the top.
Oh yeah, Doug McDermott, and we got Kristaps Porzingis, who might be the best power forward in the league, and is an all-star. Should be starting for LeBron's team after Boogie got injured.
Yeah, how does that work? Does Paul George become a starter now, or like how does that work?
I think LeBron gets to decide his lineup, but Adam Silver got to pick Paul George into the lineup. So yeah,
Weird.
Blake Griffin's on the Pistons.
LeBron's
for a
always
bunch of
wanted to be a
stuff.
player coach. It's really a perfect. Like,
Is
fit.
True.
he'd make a good GM. If he retired and just became the Cavs GM after this season, I'd be totally fine with that because then he doesn't have to play on any other
You
team.
know he's not retiring.
Yeah, I know. He's not gonna
Come on.
He's not gonna retire for another 10 years.
He's
Stop
also not
it.
going to retire in a Cavs jersey either.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no.
No.
Yeah,
No.
he's not. Yeah,
No.
he's
Yeah.
he might do one of those like he signs for like a day or something.
Yeah,
and
like
retires.
he'll pull a Paul Pierce. Pull up Paul Pierce.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
what he
his
did.
number is getting retired in Cleveland. His number will get retired in Miami.
You think so?
Absolutely. 6 is getting retired in Miami for sure.
Interesting.
I mean, those teams are incredible. But last 10 minutes we have here, so we'll talk about the Pistons, who are sort of trying to shift their way into the best teams in the NBA. The Milwaukee Brewers are trying to shift their way into one of the best teams in the MLB. They just exploded in picking up players. They picked up
I love it.
Lorenzo Cain
Christian Yelich.
and Christian Yelich.
And they signed Matt Albers today. Which, I mean, not a lot of people know who he is, but he had a 1.62 ERA last year, so pretty good.
Cubs fan Will. Can the Brewers beat the Cubs in the NL Central?
Buddy, if you're about to say what I think you're going to say,
He's over here. I don't really want to comment.
So
you have to. You have
commenting means you're scared, so that
to. Yeah,
means
your
yes.
panic button? Where's the panic button?
I think the Cubs are going to make some moves before the season starts.
Well, that's a given.
Who would they get?
That's like saying the sun's going to come up tomorrow.
What, they re-signed Jake Arrieta?
No, that's not going to happen.
I think he's gone.
I'd like to see you Darvish in a Cubs jersey.
That could happen. Alex Cobb, probably. They like him.
How good will this Milwaukee team be? Are they legit?
I mean, they won 86 games last year. I mean, I'd pencil them for 90. I think without even taking into account the improvements that they're going to get from Oswaldo Arcia, who was a former top 5 MLB prospect, Domingo Santana, Ryan Braun, might decline, might keep doing what he's doing. Eric Thames, if he gets a whole full MLB offseason's work, not even taking into account improvement across the rest of the roster. I mean, Yelich and Kane alone add 7 wins, I think it is, 7 or 8 wins. So, and I'm perfectly comfortable penciling the Brewers in for 95 wins.
Could they maybe shock the National League and make the World Series? Because you're always telling me how unpredictable baseball is, and the Brewers are really good.
So theoretically, yes.
But are they legitimate? Are they legitimate?
Yeah, no,
contenders?
they're legitimate contenders. Absolutely. I think they were already postseason, like kind of on the bubble. Would they be able to challenge the Cubs for the division? I think you absolutely put them. It's going to make a lot of people angry. The Brewers are the best team in the Central right now.
Oh,
as of right now,
are they better than the Cubs?
As of today,
Cubs fans riot. Jake believes.
At Jake Hassan too. Let's go.
I think Tommy's not here right now.
Oh,
I think Tommy would agree.
No, Tommy would just be like, "Stop it! They're not as good as the 05 White Sox."
True. I mean, because even look at it, like because the Cubs still have to fill out the back of the rotation. They still need to fill out their bullpen.
The Cubs have more talent hitting.
Okay.
Still.
But as a team,
as a team, Cubs pitching is kind of bad right now.
Yeah, I mean, you're counting on Tyler Chatwood to be your what?
I don't even know who that is.
Exactly. He was a fringe starter in
Bring
Colorado.
back Brett Anderson.
Yikes. Remember that?
He was terrible.
I mean, right now the Cubs are going to count on Mike Montgomery to be their 5th starter?
Yeah. He might even be their 3rd starter.
So, no.
What? Lester, Hendricks,
I have
Quintana.
one friend that really believes in Montgomery as a starter for whatever
I think he
reason.
could be good. I think he's better out of the bullpen,
I think
though.
he's got like the pitches. He could do it. I feel like he can. I mean, he can go for multiple.
Yeah,
innings.
he
We've
could
seen
do it, but I
already.
mean, you put him in the rotation, then you still need more in the bullpen,
Yeah,
which
then
the
you're
Cubs
missing another
bullpen
ball
is
team.
already not great. They're counting on Brandon Morrow to be their closer.
Who are the Brewers' big pitchers? They have Gallardo.
Gallardo's not that good.
Yeah, I mean that's the only one I can think
It's a
of.
bunch of guys you haven't heard of before, but who are actually very good pitchers who could throw it. Jimmy Nelson is coming. He's good. I forgot they had someone who had Tommy John surgery who was like in the Cy Young race for a while, and then he got hurt. He'll be back at some point. You think next season, especially if the Brewers are in the postseason. That guy comes back in the postseason. He's their #1 starter. They go up even another level.
Mm-hmm.
So. I mean, I like it. You're looking at their lineup right now as Kane, Yelich, Travis Shaw, Ryan Braun, Eric Thames. That's a pretty good top 5. I mean, those guys can hit a lot of homers. I mean, Travis Shaw probably should have gotten some MVP votes last year. I mean, he was okay in Boston, went to Milwaukee, and just started hitting balls to the moon. Milwaukee's the best team in the NL Central by a hair. Once the Cubs add Darvish or Cobb, I mean, they'll be the best again. But I mean, look at what happened last year with the Cubs. Everyone said they were going to dominate the league and set the world on fire. And did they even win 90 games?
Yeah, they won 90 games.
Yes, but I mean, they were in the division race with the Cardinals, who were awful last year.
And they're going to be awful again next year.
And the Brewers, who were good, but they only won 86 games. The Cubs barely won that division. They won at the end. So
And then they played the Nationals, which is a gimme series, and then Dodgers smoked them.
and they almost lost that series.
Yeah, it was 5
I mean, that
games.
game went 5 games, and by all means, the Cubs should have lost that game 5.
Probably.
It was just a classic Nationals collapse.
No, it's a classic Washington, D.C. collapse. Classic D.C. sports, man.
They're cursed.
They are cursed completely. They just can't buy a playoff series win.
It's fine. The Dusty's gone. They have a manager who can actually manage a bullpen now.
Their football team needs to get rid of their racist logo.
Oh, well, speaking
Just like,
speaking of that, the Cleveland Indians, no more Chief Wahoo for the Indians. This will be the last year that the Indians will be using the Chief Wahoo logo.
I saw an interesting thing. Does Tomei go in with that logo, or does he go with the Block C? Because most of the time that he played in Cleveland, it was the Chief Wahoo logo. So do you immortalize that logo?
I mean, it's already in the Hall of Fame.
Yes, I think.
Yeah.
Any recent? I mean, the Chief.
Not recently.
Not recently.
Did they even wear the Block C's much back then?
They
No,
they,
it was still mostly the Chief Wahoo. When Tomei was in Cleveland, it was still mostly the Chief Wahoo.
Well, let me.
They just recently went to the Block C.
Let me consult one of my favorite websites, sportslogos.net, which has like a nice little logo encyclopedia. Gives you the years of when the teams are using primary, secondary logos. There was a Block C in Cleveland. I mean, they didn't install a Chief logo until 28. And then their primary logo always involved Chief Wahoo until 2013 when they made the Block Red C the official primary logo.
And then wore the Chief Wahoo hats during the playoffs.
Maybe,
exactly.
Maybe they make an exception. I don't know. They put the Block C in.
It's very weird timing now.
Put him in as a Philly, as a White Sox.
He's not going to go in as a White Sox.
Problem solved.
He's not going to go in
sure.
he's not going in as a member of the White Sox.
He's going to go in as an Indian.
If he goes in as a Philly, that'd be hilarious. I would laugh really hard.
I think it's the right move, though, for the Indians to abandon the logo. So Illinois did it. Now the Indians are doing it. And the next step would be,
the Redskins.
Redskins is the next one. The Blackhawks and the Florida State are never going to change their logos.
The Blackhawks will never
No. I mean, they have
change it.
permission from the tribes. So
That's also true.
That's true. Last couple
And
minutes.
Chicago would burn if they changed it.
Yes.
And I'm not kidding. Blackhawks fans, like the diehard fans that live in the city.
But I've seen some like concept logos for the Blackhawks, and they
are
honestly
cool,
look
yeah.
a lot better than the current one.
They are.
A lot of those end up being cooler. So last couple of minutes here in the show, talk a little bit about one last Illini thing. Jock Jams is tonight, which is a charity event where the student athletes and all the different teams put on these little performances. Men's gym won last year, but the big story today is that Darren Williams, Illini men's basketball great, is in town. He came to basketball practice. He came to golf practice today because men's golf star Dylan Meyer DM'd him on Twitter and brought him here. Yeah, and Darren Williams will be at the game tomorrow.
It's not like men's golf needs the pep talk.
Well, I'm sure
golf school.
I'm sure because Dylan was the one who brought him. That's probably why he came. But you saw Darren today.
But yeah, if you're out there listening, Darren, I actually saw you twice
We know you are, Darren.
I saw him walking out of media availability for basketball, and then I saw him walking down Green Street. He had his hood up. He was with like one other friend. He looked like he really didn't want to talk to anyone. So I kind of like grinned at him, made sure to like make eye contact, kind of nodded my head a little bit. So I was tempted, to like pull him aside and try and get a quick interview, but I knew he had no interest in being recognized by anyone whatsoever.
Darren, hey. I still think we should be emceeing Jock Jams. That'd be electric. We need Tommy, though.
We need to submit a proposal for next year.
Yeah, I think we should.
I mean, we're sponsored by the athletic department, so might as well,
Oh,
right?
true. We should pull
Speaking
that
of
card.
that,
We should pull that card.
You are listening to Illini Drive on WPGU 107.1, which is brought to you by the Illinois Fighting Illini. For tickets and info, go to fightingillini.com or call 1-866-ILLINI-1. Once again, fightingillini.com or call 1-866-ILLINI-1 for more ticket information. If you do want to go to Jock Jams, it starts at 7:30. It's at Follinger Auditorium, and you can just walk in and buy a ticket for $10. Find a seat. It's a big place. I've had class there, and it's a nightmare.
Nothing beats talent show, really.
It is a talent show. That's literally what it is. I mean, men's gym won last year because those guys can probably just, do backflips.
Flip around, yeah.
Exactly.
Impressive dance routine. They actually did it during halftime of one of the basketball games, I believe.
Illini Drive alum Jade Hilton will probably be singing for the women's tennis team, being the talented musician that she
It'd be a
is.
travesty if she didn't.
Yeah, football, I don't know. They just tackle each other a little bit. I don't know. I'm just trying to think of the routines that they would come up with.
What?
I don't know. If you're doing something related to your sport, every single one, but they don't.
Yes, singing is quite related to
They
tennis.
don't, obviously. For swim and dive, you just throw a bunch of chlorine water on the stage and swim during it. I don't know.
They're supposed to show off their other
Thank
talents.
thank God that Ori is
They're
not
not
in
just
charge
good
of
at
organizing this
Thank
event.
God I'm not a choreographer. So that would be a disaster if I was doing choreography. I can't even spell choreography half the time. He can't even spell it. I don't. What about you? Can you spell it?
It's CHOREOGRAPHY.
I can spell it, but probably not like out loud. You're kind of putting me on the spot right now.
Choreography.
I had to think about it for a second, but
The sequence of steps and movements in dance or figure skating, especially in
all
a
right,
ballet.
we're
or
reading
other
definitions
stage
on the air.
dance.
We need to wrap.
That's
this
how
up.
we're closing the show. Word of the day: choreography. Spell it, learn it. There you go.
Tell your friends.
That's Illini Drive for you. For Jake Hassan, for Will Gerard, I'm Ori Benatar. Make sure to tune in tomorrow for the Tuesday edition of Illini Drive. Jake will be here. It'll be during the Rutgers game, so I'm sure they'll be giving live updates during the basketball game, while myself, Will, and hopefully Tommy, if he's feeling better, will be tweeting during the game from State Farm Center. So for all three of us, have a good night, and thanks for tuning in on WPGU 107.1.